So far, we have discussed what is SAP Fiori, which is cloud-based interface and is comprised of different apps as per user role, just like mobile apps. So, what is SAP GUI? Before SAP Fiori, which was introduced with SAP S/4HANA Business Suite, SAP GUI was the only option login to SAP system. So, GUI is the abbreviation of graphical user interface. So it is a graphical user interface client in SAP ERP 3 tier architecture of database, application layer, and client or presentation layer. It is software that runs on a Microsoft Windows, Apple Macintosh, or Unix desktop and allows a user to access SAP functionality in SAP applications such as SAP ERP and SAP Business Intelligence. It is the platform used for remote access to the SAP central server in a company network. Its current Windows version is 7.60 and its current Mac version is 7.50. When you install SAP GUI, its icon will be appeared on the desktop. And just like other Windows software, you can double click on it to open its logon pad. As you can see, SAP Logon 7.60 is its version which I'm using. The first thing you have to do once you install SAP GUI Logon pad is to create a new connection. You must have the information for the application server details. User specified system, click next. Here you will just give any description if you're going to use SAP S/4HANA 1909, 1809, 1709, so whatever it is. Or it can be SAP ERP system. Application server details, which will be provided to you by the company from whom you rent out the application server or SAP system. Instance number and system ID will also be provided to you by the same company. In few instances, we use string option as well, but mostly it is not needed. It can be needed if you use Apple laptop or Apple computer. So I will create a dummy connection just to give you an example. Let's say we write the description SAP access example, and application server can be like this. Instance number is normally 2-digit numeric code, and system ID is normally 3-digit alphanumeric or 3 alphanumeric key. Click next, next, and then finish. And then you will notice that a connection is appeared on your logon pad. You can double click on it to open the SAP screen, where you have to mention the client, your username, and password. For example, I will use my username and then password. And SAP screen opens. You can compare this screen with SAP Fiori because before SAP Fiori, users used to work on this screen, that is SAP Easy Access. There are 3 ways to navigate transactions through SAP GUI user interface. The first one is user or SAP menu, the second one is favorites, and the third one is fast path or transaction code. So the first option is to navigate transactions through SAP GUI is SAP menu. For example, if you want to post a customer invoice, so you will go to SAP menu, then accounting, then accounts receivable, document entry, and then invoice. And you can double click on it and the customer invoice screen will open. Remember, we used SAP Fiori app to create outgoing invoice. So we did that through the app. And you can do the similar process through SAP GUI. So you can see that you do not need to use SAP GUI to post customer invoice when you can also use SAP Fiori app to do the same job. The second option is to navigate transaction through SAP GUI is favorites. You can take the example that if you keep using the invoice option frequently and you do not want to use menu path because you think that it's quite time consuming, then you can select invoice and click this star icon which says add to favorites. When you click on it, the option will be saved under the favorites folder. And when next time you log into SAP Easy Access screen, you do not have to use the long menu path, but you just will go to the favorites folder and then double click on the option to create customer invoice. The third way to navigate transactions through SAP GUI is fast path or transaction code. Fast path is normally called to this white bar which you can see at the header. So what is transaction code? Suppose you go to accounting, financial accounting, accounts receivable, document entry, and invoice. So it's a long way to access the invoice option. Similarly, favorites, but you think that there are a number of other transactions which you want to access and those are not in favorites folder, but you want to access them as fast as possible. So this can be done through the transaction code. So how can we see the transaction code for the invoice? If it doesn't appear on your SAP Easy Access screen, so it means that you haven't selected the relevant option. Go to extras and click settings. Here you mark the checkbox display technical names and then continue or enter. And now you go to accounting, financial accounting node, accounts receivable, document entry, and invoice. And here you can see its transaction code, that is FP70. So, or you can call it FP70. So if I type FP70 in the fast path, continue or press enter, and you will be on customer invoice. So each transaction has got a transaction code. You can remember these transaction codes, or you will automatically remember all those transaction codes which are relevant to your work when you keep using them frequently. You can also use the transaction code in SAP Fiori if you want to find the app through global search. So if you type FP60 or FP70, so you will have the relevant app appeared and you do not have to scroll down or up to find that app. So you can simply type FP70 and the relevant application will be appeared in the results. You can also learn other transaction codes which are not related to any transactions, but those are helpful when you work on SAP system. For example, if you want to exit and go back to SAP Easy Access screen, so you will simply type /n transaction code and press enter, and you will be back to SAP Easy Access screen. Just remember one thing: FP70 transaction code is for invoice and F-22 is for invoice general. So suppose if you are in FP70 transaction code and you want to jump into F-22, you will go and then type F-22 and press enter. It will give you the error and it will not jump to the next transaction or document. So how can you do that? So you have to type /n before F-22 and then press enter. And then it will go to F-22. Similarly, just like SAP Fiori, you can open SAP Fiori instance in multiple tabs of your browser. For example, I have got customer invoice open in one tab. In the second tab, I got asset accounting overview. And in the third tab, got search option, or yeah, the desktop of my SAP Fiori. So similarly, you can create 8 new SAP GUI windows or sessions by clicking this button. For example, click on it and a new SAP Easy Access screen will open. So you can click another one, so you can open the new SAP Easy Access screen. So it means that if you are working on invoice in one session, so on the next SAP Easy Access screen, you can open another transaction like BP. So you do not have to exit from one transaction code to work on another transaction code. Rather, you can create a new session to work on the new SAP GUI window, just like SAP Fiori. If you do not want to create a new session by clicking on this button because you want to do it through the transaction code, for example, you are in FP70 invoice screen and now you want to go to F-22, but you do not want to exit from this screen. So you will just type /o and then F-22. And this will open the new session and also go to the F-22 screen. You also have the option to customize the layout for SAP GUI, just like SAP Fiori, where I have showed you that you can change the theme settings for SAP Fiori. So where we can find the option for SAP GUI. You can click on this customize local layout button, go to options and go to visual design theme settings. Here you can change the theme which you would like the most. You can change the font settings, you can change the color settings, color in system, and many other options. Keyboard settings, visualization one, where you want to show keys within drop down list. For example, if you go to the transaction code BP, you can see the keys with the drop down list. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the keys. If you will not select that option, show keys within drop down list, you will not see that information. So this is sometimes quite handy to check these options. Also, under local data, there is an option for history. History means that if you have used a transaction code to input the details. So those details, you can see them in drop down format. For example, in customer invoice, I will go to reference field and then select any alphabet. Let's say A or D. So, and then if I will delete that alphabet, so it will give me the drop options in the drop down list which I have previously used. So that's the history. That's how you can see the history. So you do not have to type again and again. You just type D and then select the complete sentence or word or any other number. For example, date, if you choose 0, so it is giving you the date option 01/08/2020, which I have previously used. And the expiry time for my history is 3 months. If you want to search for transaction code and menu title, which you are not sure, so you can also use the transaction code search SAP underscore menu and type customer invoice. Continue. And here you will have the transaction code if you are not sure that which transaction code is used to enter customer invoice. So this transaction search underscore SAP underscore menu will give you the transaction code and or menu title information. Now I will make a comparison in between SAP Easy Access screen and Display IMG screen. Easy Access screen, as we have just seen, that all the activities related to end users, super users, and top management are executed through this screen. Display IMG. IMG is the abbreviation of implementation guide. All the activities related to configuration, implementation, and enhancement of SAP are executed through this screen. In order to access this screen, we use the following transaction code or menu path. So I will show you Display IMG screen. We have already seen SAP Easy Access screen, and now I will show you where we can find this Display IMG screen. So go under Tools, Customizing, IMG, and Execute Project. Its transaction code is SPRO. Double click on it and click on SAP reference IMG. And here you can see all the nodes which you can use to configure SAP system per module. For example, you have got the option financial accounting. So all the configuration related to financial accounting is done under this node. You can create a new session and compare both screens. So on my right hand side is SAP Easy Access screen where all the end users work, and in Display IMG where all the consultants work to configure the SAP system as per the business requirements. So not all the users have got access to Display IMG screen. They can just see SAP Easy Access screen. So we can say that we have got two different screens available through SAP GUI user interface. One is for the configuration and second is for the end user processes. Here, the benefit to use SAP Fiori is that SAP Fiori apps also allow the consultants to configure the system directly through the apps. So they do not have to navigate to Display IMG screen. It does not mean that we should leave SAP GUI completely. No, we still have to configure the system through this display IMG screen, because I believe that SAP Fiori apps do not provide all all the options to configure the system. So we will directly use the transaction code SPRO to do all our configuration for SAP S/4HANA sourcing and procurement in this training course.